In 330 BCE, the greatest palace on earth burned for 3 days. Persepolis, the ceremonial heart of an empire that stretched from Egypt to India. An empire that governed 50 million people, more than a third of the human population. It had taken 200 years to build. Alexander of Macedon watched it burn. He was 25 years old. History has spent 2,000 years celebrating what Alexander built. His conquest, his legacy, the spread of Greek culture across the world. This is not that story. This is the story of what he destroyed. Not just an empire, but a civilization. A language, a system, a way of governing the world, and the man he destroyed, Darius III, King of Kings. History called him a coward, a failure, a footnote. Every one of those is wrong. Before we understand what was lost, we need to understand what existed. Most people imagine Persia as spectacle, a golden throne, absolute power. The reality was something else entirely. The Persian Empire was the most administratively advanced state of its time. Cyrus the Great allowed conquered people to keep their religion, language, and customs. In an ancient world built on domination, this was radical. They built a road system that connected the empire across thousands of kilometers. A message could cross the empire in days, not weeks. Workers were paid, skilled labor earned more, women were paid equally. 500 BCE, this was not a primitive empire, it was a functioning system. And when you understand that, the story of its destruction becomes something else. It becomes a tragedy.
Darius did not inherit a stable situation. He inherited a crisis. Alexander was already advancing fast, aggressive, and unpredictable. Within 2 years, he had already shattered the western defenses of the empire. At Issus, Darius made his first critical mistake. He chose terrain that neutralized his advantage. The Persian army could not deploy properly. The battle collapsed into confusion. Darius retreated, not out of cowardice, but because the battle was already lost. At Gaugamela, he corrected that mistake. A flat, open battlefield, designed for his army's full strength. Darius had the numbers, the terrain, the advantage, and Alexander did something unexpected. He created a gap and drove straight toward Darius himself. At that moment, Darius made a decision. He left the field, not because he was weak, but because staying meant certain capture, and the empire fell. After Gaugamela, Darius did not disappear. He fled east, trying to rebuild what remained. Alexander followed, relentless, closing the distance day by day. And then, something more dangerous than Alexander appeared. His own men. They abandoned him, stripped him of protection, left him behind. By the time Alexander arrived, Darius was already dying. Not defeated in battle, not captured by his enemy, betrayed, abandoned, left to die. Alexander did not celebrate. He covered the body with his own cloak and ordered that Darius be buried with the honors of a king. The man history called a coward. Alexander burned Persepolis, not in battle, not by necessity, but as a deliberate act carried out over days. History calls it a victory. But what was destroyed was not just a palace of stone, it was something far more complex. He destroyed a system that worked, an empire held together by roads, couriers, and records carved into clay. And the man who tried to hold that system together, the one history dismissed, died alone, abandoned far from power. History remembers Alexander as great, but that title depends entirely on which side of history you choose to stand on.